Hi everyone, and welcome to my presentation on my personal philosophy of education. My name is Sabrina McCrocklin. I am a student at Cal State Fullerton. I graduate in May with my bachelor's degree in English. To pay the bills, I am a waitress. I've been in the service industry for 10 years, and as much as I love waiting tables, I'm very excited to be taking the next big steps towards my career. My background consists of training. I worked at the Disneyland Resort for 5 years. My 10 years in the workforce have prepared me for any future career, really. My experiences being a trainer for Disneyland, it reignited my love for sharing knowledge. I worked with a lot of teenagers at the Disneyland Resort, and I got a lot of positive responses from my trainees, and that helped point me back towards the direction of teaching and working with young people, and it really ensured me that teaching is going to be the correct path for me. So my goals are obviously to become a teacher, and I definitely see graduate school in my future. So my master's or possibly my PhD, we'll see. One thing at a time. First, I want to get my credential from the state of California and get into a classroom. So the role of education. The role of education is to help students develop good problem-solving skills as well as familiarize them with the workings of democracy. Ultimately, the purpose of education is to ready students and prepare them to function in the real world by ensuring that they are critical thinkers who can problem solve. Um, so education, we've established, is different from schooling. In school, you learn the curricula, but education is supposed to help you function and be successful in the real world and the workforce. The role of the teacher is to provide an education and schooling. Teachers are the facilitators of knowledge. They develop problem-solving abilities in students. They also have a lot of other hats that they wear. They are a gatekeeper by deciding who's going to speak. They dispense resources. They are the grantor of special privileges. They play timekeeper and classroom manager. But really, teachers are there to help students stay on task and stay engaged in classroom activities and just to make sure that students know how to learn. The role of student is much less responsibility. The student is supposed to show up to class prepared, having done any homework or assignments that they need to participate in class that day. They should be ready to learn and discover. So one of my goals as an English teacher is to make sure that students have met all the state standards in writing and language arts. So I have a couple of them listed up here. Students are expected to gather relevant information from multiple authoritative print and digital resources using advanced searches effectively. They're expected to assess the strengths and limitations of each source in terms of task, purpose, and audience. They need to integrate information into the text selectively to maintain the flow of ideas. That's all from the writing standard. Some of the other standards expect students to demonstrate command of the conventions of standard English grammar and usage when writing or speaking, apply knowledge of language to understand how language functions in different contexts, to make effective choices for meaning and style, and to comprehend more fully when reading or listening. So basically, your goals as an English teacher is to make sure that students understand how to evaluate information, how to look for said information, doing research, how to communicate their findings to other students and to their teachers, and how to apply knowledge and problem-solving skills in the real world and to make good choices when writing. So English teachers kind of have a lot on our plate, just saying. What makes adolescents special? This was an interesting question because to adolescents, everything about them is special. So that's exactly what I put here. Everything is special about adolescents, especially to them, because the parts of their brain that have to do with impulse control and thinking things through is not completely developed yet. Sometimes teenagers might make choices that adults do not understand, and the teenagers themselves might not even understand why they made that choice. So because of this, adolescents need a little bit of extra patience and guidance. They're going through a lot of physical, emotional and mental changes. They're trying on different identities and forming their personalities and their characters. So it's important for teachers to be patient and provide guidance during these very formative years for young people. How adolescents learn. So as adolescents grow, not all of their body parts are growing at the same rate, and that's even more exaggerated between boys and girls as different parts of their bodies grow at different times. As they grow, their learning needs to grow and change with them. Adolescents need to stay interested and engaged in the material, or else they probably won't remember it. So a good way to tailor learning to adolescents' probably short attention span is to plan interesting lessons and fun activities that connect to their daily lives, and to make sure that you're helping students learn how to learn. So I think that if you plan your lessons so what students are learning connects to their other classes or to their own daily lives somehow, then I think that they are more likely to retain the knowledge when they're making connections with what they're learning to the bigger picture. The curriculum and subject matter that I will be teaching is literature, grammar, rhetoric, language, and composition. I also intend to incorporate multicultural works into the curriculum whenever possible. And I want to plan activities based on getting students interested in real-world problems and interdisciplinary solution seeking. Some of the instructional strategies that I plan to use when teaching new content is the use of differentiated instruction, which means tailoring different kinds of instruction to different students. So one kind of instructional strategy might work for almost everyone in the class except one student who might need a different strategy. So making sure that I use differentiated instruction ensures that all my students are staying on task and grasping key ideas. I also plan to use graphic organizers. I think they're very useful in an English and literature class when students are faced with huge blocks of text. So when they are asked to graphically organize things, it helps them look at the information in a new way. Some of the assessments I plan to use in my classroom are a survey as an entry-level assessment, which the students would take before starting a new unit to assess how much they know about whatever subject or how much they don't know about something, so I can skip what they do know and focus on what they don't know. One of the formative assessments I'll plan on using is an exit slip to see if students grasp the key ideas from the lesson that day, and a summative assessment that I don't think English teachers can escape is the essay. An essay examining a piece of literature for literary devices, as well as providing a close reading through literary analysis. In conclusion, I believe I have a progressive philosophy when it comes to education, but because of the diversity of my students in my classroom, the use of differentiated instruction will help me make sure that all of my students are achieving to the best of their abilities. I hope to help my students learn how to learn as well as become great problem solvers and critical thinkers. That is my goal with becoming a teacher. Have my students leave my classroom ready to be lifelong learners and be successful in the next stages of their lives. Thank you guys for listening.